Hey guys, I have been processing a lot. I'm always checking in with my emotions. I have been doing a lot of writing and journaling to help me process things. I have had an unresolved emotion that I've been dealing with, mainly anger. The thing about anger is that our fear of anger makes us resist it, and when we resist things, they persist, right? They keep going, they keep coming up until we resolve them. And I have been so afraid of anger. Anger is a cover emotion, and those of us who grew up being told that anger was bad, or seeing anger used in extreme ways like violence or abuse, we tend to shy away from it. At least that's how I dealt with it. So I have been so afraid of anger because anger meant disconnection from love, and to survive I had to keep the love of my parents and keep their praise, and I was so afraid of that disconnection that I carry that until my adult relationships. You know, I put up with a lot of things from partners and friends because I wanted unconditional love, so I would be so forgiving to a fault. And even though when I would be hurt, I would feel some anger, but I would just push it away or just blame myself for why they were acting the way they were acting. And so that anger never got to serve its purpose, and that anger takes us out of powerlessness. So that's why I default to sadness. I'm so afraid of anger, and that sadness keeps me in toxic relationships and situations because that anger is supposed to make me rise above that. Anger is a really, really important emotion. It can be destructive if we use it in unhealthy ways such as violence or abusive behavior, but it also can be very productive. Anger can fuel our choices. While we shouldn't rely on anger to do those things, anger is helpful in the moment. When I found out that my transmission was bad on a car that I paid over $12K for, my default normally would have been to feel super hopeless and sad, and I just felt completely powerless because there was nothing I could do to force them to help me. So the anger fueled me to write a bad review. And while that doesn't change anything, it did help me. I felt like I had some sense of control. And it's really hard. Anger really communicates a lot to us, and usually it's a cover emotion. So usually there's something underneath, like sadness or fear. And anger helps us rise above that so we don't get stuck in a super low vibration of powerlessness. So it can be super helpful if we learn to channel it correctly. And I'm trying to learn how to channel it correctly. I stayed in contact with my ex after we broke up the first and the second time because I had so much compassion and I didn't want to hate him. And I don't hate him still, but I never processed my anger, and I ended up staying in contact with him way longer than I needed to. I mean, this person lied to me and cheated on me, manipulated me, tried to control me, and I couldn't walk away. And it wasn't until about a month ago that that anger started to kick in. Way late, but it kicked in and I was able to walk away, and it's been about a month since I've talked to them. So I'm so proud of myself. It's been very hard, but the anger has fueled me to keep going. I can't get stuck in that anger. A lot of people do. It's very easy to get stuck in there. I'm just very angry about how he treated me and how I let him treat me. And that made me reflect on why would I let someone treat me like that? And it comes down to just, I don't feel worthy to be invested in. And so I overinvest in people who are never going to invest in me, hoping to get unconditional love. And the reality is it doesn't work that way. I have to value myself and know that I'm worth investing in, and that I don't need to put up with that stuff. I think I'm just processing a lot of anger on how I let him treat me, and he let me feel crazy, and he let me try to unalive myself a couple times in our relationship because I felt like I was going crazy. I felt like something was off with him and that he was lying about things, and he wasn't willing to tell me. He'd rather have seen me died essentially than tell the truth. And that just says more about his shame, and I hope he works through it. And I was such an open-minded person. I thought that maybe I wasn't being nice or compassionate enough, but I created as much as a safe space as I could for him. I didn't even care about most of the stuff he was doing. I just wanted someone to be truthful and to show me that they wanted me. In reality, I gave him everything, and he did not want that. And part of him did, I'm sure, but I really had a wake-up call with this car accident. I really believe this is why I had this car accident. It woke me up when he came down to help me, and we ended up fighting, and more secrets were coming out. And I just felt so hurt because other people knew about this stuff, but I didn't. And I have put so much effort in the last 2 years to make a safe space for him, but he did not do the same thing for me. In fact, he often criticized me for wanting to be with girls or wanting to do sugar daddy stuff, and I can respect that. Not everyone wants that, but he made me feel so bad for that when he was cheating on me. And I let him make myself feel that bad. I let him make me feel crazy, and I will now know that I need to trust my intuition. And the fact that he would rather see me cry and fall apart and have meltdowns instead of just being honest says a lot about him and how he valued me. And I think that was the biggest wake-up call. And I had another family member just this week, it's been a rough week, say that they needed space for me. I thought we were best friends. This came out of nowhere. I didn't even get a full explanation. I just got a text that they needed space. And I put a lot of effort into this relationship. Now, I'm not perfect. I have very strong emotions, and I know that can be a lot for people, and I try to be sensitive, but, you know, I'm not perfect. I felt like I deserved more than a text, and this is nothing against them. I totally respect them, and I'm so happy they're on their healing journey, but it was still really hurtful. And it had a wake-up call for me again on how I invest a lot in people who don't invest in me. And I have wasted time investing myself in people who don't reciprocate the same, and then I miss out on relationships of people who really do want to invest in me. So I feel so sad that I've missed out on people who have tried with me, because I was so focused on these relationships with Kevin and this family member and so many other people, and just realizing how angry I am for the way people have treated me. And it doesn't mean I'm a bad person, and it doesn't mean I'm gonna hate those people or send them a nasty text, but I do have to write it out. Full anger. I just type everything out I'm feeling without compassion, because I need to get that anger out. And then once I'm done, I leave it on the paper and I walk away. And it has been hard. I have literally lost so many relationships this year and have had so many wake-up calls on the relationships around me, and it's been very painful. But it's also been very healing and very growing to recognize how much worth and value I have. And it's okay for me to be angry. It's okay to be angry that my ex rather have seen me fall apart mentally than be honest. And it's also eye-opening to recognize that I'm willing to do that for someone. I'm willing to sacrifice my mental health for nothing, really. And I hope all these people do their healing. I don't have like hard feelings. I'm not gonna hold a grudge. That's why you process the emotion. The more you hold on to it, that's why you tend to hate people. You hold on to that, and anger can be such an amazing thing. It has literally made me look at myself and realize what I let people do to me. And yes, it's on me. I have to reflect on that, because like, while my ex was literally an asshole for like putting me through that, I also allowed that to happen, and I felt the intuition of it, and I let him sidetrack me. And that's why feeling anger is so important. They communicate to us what's not okay. And I feel like a new sense of power with processing this anger and feeling this anger, and I don't want to stay in this or let it continue to fuel my decision making, but it has helped. It has given me the courage to not be in powerlessness anymore. I am powerful. I do have a choice, and I did walk away, and it's been a little over a month, and I'm very proud of me. I know it's not that long, but that's a lot for me. And I blocked him on everything, and it's been hard, especially going through this car thing, stuff with family. Like, my go-to is just to rely on him. And I'm seeing how much I'm progressing because I and becoming a lot more aware of what I deserve, and that I can also provide a lot for myself. I still need people because I get lonely. This has been the loneliest time of my life, but it's also taught me a lot about my reality around me and what I've been in denial of. So I guess maybe take some time to write out your anger. Using statements like I hate, I'm angry, I'm frustrated that, I don't like when you do this made me feel this way. Like, really express, and no judgment on that anger. Just because you're writing it out and you feel that way doesn't mean you don't love that person still or you don't care about them, but it has to get out. It's gonna keep persisting and growing until you snap. And I've snapped. I know how it feels when you hold that anger in and all of a sudden you're going just a little bit crazy. So it's so important that you take care of your anger like a baby. You know, when a baby's crying, like it needs help, like that's what your anger is. You have to get to the bottom of that anger. The bottom of my anger was the fact that I was not investing in myself, and I wanted people to invest in me the way I invested in them, and that wasn't happening. And the fact was, I don't trust people. A lot of people have broken my trust, especially even as an adult. I think I can trust people with my emotions, and it doesn't end up that way. So that's something that I need to work through. That's the underlying issue. So it's so important that we process the anger and then figure out what emotion that anger is covering, whether it's fear, hurt, sadness, you know, things like with trauma. Like, I'd rather have been sad than and blame myself and then be angry, because if I'm angry, that means that someone hurt me, and that is a really hard thing to accept, that people you love can hurt you. And I think that's why I wasn't angry at my ex for so long, because being angry meant that I had to accept that he hurt me, and I wasn't there yet. So free writing is super helpful with processing emotions, like identifying what is the threat that I feel like the situation is communicating to me, because that's when we get angry. We feel threatened, we feel powerless, we feel whatever, and then we need to process what hurt us so bad, because the hurt underneath the anger is the underlying issue. So that's my thoughts on anger. I think it's just really, really important to remember that it is a healthy emotion, and that it can be used to progress us in our healing journey if we let it. And you know, that's the main reason why I would have harm issues, where I would harm myself, because of anger. I could not handle the anger emotion in my body. I hated the way it felt. I felt like my parents. I felt like I was going to turn into them and be violent and abusive, but by ignoring that anger, I actually sometimes became like them. And so by processing that anger, I've become a lot better person. And by accepting the anger when it comes and dealing with it instead of ignoring it, I feel like better and lighter and healthier. So remember to express your anger and to not let it fester and boil. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Bye.